What's up, y'all? It's T here. I'm just sitting here thinking, I'm going through it right now. I am in a little bit of a crisis at the moment, and let me give you a little background on what's going on, okay? So I lost my job about 2 months ago, which was the worst thing that could have happened in that point in my life. Um, if you've ever lost, your job, a full-time job, it is a terrible situation to be in, especially when you live paycheck to paycheck. But it is what it is. I finally got me a new job. After 2 months of searching, after dozens, it feels like I put in hundreds of applications. I had numerous interviews, and I wasn't getting the job, okay? Which is mind blowing to me. I don't know what I was doing. I know there's a lot of people out there who are struggling to find jobs, and it's like, what's going on with these jobs? You know what I'm saying? Like, you guys act like you're hiring, and then you don't hire nobody, not a single soul. Like, you just wasted people's time out here, getting people's hopes up out here. But I finally received a job offer, y'all, and I took it because I didn't have a choice. The thing about it is, it's $15 an hour, which is just not enough to live on. I don't know anywhere in this world where you can comfortably, at least in the United States, where you could comfortably live off of $15 an hour by yourself. You have a rent payment or a mortgage payment, a car payment, utilities, groceries. That stuff, it adds up, it builds up. And $15 an hour, it does not cut it. Especially if you're not even hitting 40 hours a week, you know what I'm saying? But I have that job. I also received a second job and I took that. And that job is so part time, y'all. I don't even get 15 hours a week. And same pay, $15 an hour. And on top of that, y'all, I'm doing DoorDash, which I've had to take a break from this week because I have been so tired, working these two jobs and then dashing every single chance that I get when I'm not clocked in. It is exhausting. And there were so many days, you know, this week that I just could not keep my eyes open. My head hit the pillow at 8 p.m. I'm out. I'm exhausted. I wake up and the next day and it feels like I didn't even sleep the night before. So I went ahead and took me a little break. I had to listen to my body this week, because otherwise nothing will be getting done. If I wear myself out so much, I won't be able to get anything done. And so I had to go ahead and take that little break. But I'm just sitting here thinking, what is this economy doing? Where are we headed? You know, it seems like they're trying to force us to like group up and live together because we doing this by yourself. Oh my goodness, y'all. It is a struggle. I haven't struggled this long, and I don't know. This is the biggest struggle I've ever had to deal with. These last few years have been extremely hard. I went through the death of my mom, and I really feel like that it took a bigger toll on me than I thought it was going to, I just lost myself. I lost my faith. I mean, I lost my job. Like, everything just went downhill when she died. And, I'm doing all right now. I'm doing better. But unfortunately, I am in this situation, y'all. And, back to my job, y'all, I got my first check from my full-time job, and then I also received another check from my second job, from my part-time job, y'all. It wasn't even enough to cover my rent payment. Like I said, I also have utilities, groceries, and a car payment that I have to get paid. I can't even pay my rent with these two checks. What is going on? I don't know if I remember, but I know there was a time, it might have been before my time, but I know there was a time when one income was enough. You had a family living in a house. One person went to work, one person stayed home. That was enough. That was enough. What happened? You know, Rent is constantly increasing. Groceries are constantly increasing, and it seems like these jobs are not paying us any different than they were a few years ago. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are we supposed to live off of? These jobs are killing us. It's like it's like they want us to give all of our life and our body, all of us, to them, and we're receiving change. We're receiving pennies in return, and they tell us, "All right, here you go. You can live off of that." What? How are we supposed to live off of that? Like, we're supposed to just group up and live together and help each other out. So many of us are just alone. Like, I don't even have no friends. I don't have nobody that I could just settle up with. Like, I could understand why people settle now these days, especially these days, because we're all just trying to survive out here. But yeah, like, this economy is in the trash. The housing market is in the trash. What is going on? And it seemed like there's so much money to be made out here, but I can't find it. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I don't know where I'm supposed to go. I hear people all the time tell me, that's why you need to start your own business. I don't have no skills. I don't have no talent. So what I'm supposed to do? And then on top of that, to make money, you gotta have money. How am I supposed, even if I did have all these skills and talents to start up my own business, where am I supposed to get the money to start that business when I still have to provide for myself? I still have to survive. You know what I'm saying? And if you're a mom and you got kids, you got to provide for those kids too. It is ridiculous out here. And it would be easier if I had another person here with another income, help pay the bills and whatnot, but that's just not the case. That is just not the case, especially for most. I feel like for most of us these days, more of us are striving to be single. More of us are staying away from marriage and kids, and because that's just the easiest thing to do. But at the same time, it's like it's still not easy. I guess we just pick and choose, right? But yeah, what is this economy doing to us? You know what I'm saying? And then on top of that, I think back to when they was trying to ban abortion. Like, you guys want more struggle out in this world? You guys want more struggle. You guys want more, like, there's enough people in this world, and you want more of us out here struggling. And for what? For what? So you guys can get more money? It just don't make no sense to me. Like, I'm confused. I'm mind blown about it all. I have no idea. What I'm gonna do. I have no idea what I'm gonna do, and I'm currently trying to find a new job, which, as hard as long as it took, as hard as it was to find this one, I don't have a lot of faith that I can find a better paying job. You know, and where I live at, y'all, there's no jobs. There's no jobs. It's a small town, and there's just nothing here. There's nothing here. Like, I'm thinking back to when I was a little girl, and people would ask me, what do you want to be when you grow up? All I ever wanted, y'all, was to be comfortable, because I did not grow up in a comfortable environment. I didn't grow up in a financially stable environment. I used to go to school with holes in my shoes. Yeah, I played sports on top of that, which wore my shoes out even more. So, I had holes in my shoes. All my clothes came from garage sales, y'all. 25 cents for a shirt, 50 cents for a pair of jeans. And shoes were a long time coming. So yeah, I didn't have it like that. You know what I'm saying? And it's upsetting to look at my life now, and it's like I'm still in the same position as I was when I was a kid growing up, and it's upsetting, But I'm doing what I can. I'm trying to keep a positive outlook. I'm trying to keep a smile on my face. And I really had to force myself up out of that depression that I was in, you guys. But I'm still here, and I'm still surviving. I'm gonna do my best to not end up on the streets. But if I do, I mean, there's nothing I can do about that. You know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to take life as it comes. Whatever it wants to throw me, I'm gonna take it. Okay. But yeah, you know, I'm just like, gosh dang, what's this economy? I'm hoping that next year it's gonna be a better year because, like I said, this has been a very hard year for me. It's been a very rough 3 years, if I'm being honest. And so I'm just gonna do my best, y'all, to get next year. Next year is gonna be, I'm gonna get myself back right. You know what I'm saying? And so, I'm starting now. I'm starting now. But yeah, thank you guys for listening to my rant, you guys. I don't know what else I want to say, y'all. I just wanted to rant for a little bit. You know, this economy is not made for single normal individuals working everyday normal everyday jobs. This economy is not made for people like that. Yeah, you want to be single working these everyday jobs and you want to live a comfortable life. This ain't the life for you. This is not the economy for you. Okay. And it is, I don't know, I'm just confused about the whole thing. I don't I'm gonna get myself out. I know I'm gonna get myself out. It might just take me some time, but I'm at a point right now, like, I can't see the end. I can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. But I know it's there. I just haven't made myself that far yet. So I'm just gonna keep walking. I'm gonna keep walking till I make it to the end and I see that light. So thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for listening. Let me know if you are feeling the same way, about the economy. Like, they're trying to get us to group up together and live together as one. So, all right, y'all. I'm gonna see y'all in the next one.